Hey guys, Jeff with Wisconsin RC Construction. I've been promising you guys this video for a long time. Obviously you can see what's in front of me. I have the drag line pretty well assembled. It's almost complete. This was a true project from the whole start. The main shell itself was kind of tattered and destroyed at the bottom. There was really no subframe to mount things to. I actually had to take a plate of aluminum and mount it to the underneath so I'd have some actually mounting space to make sure that I had a secure connection from the tracks to your cab. We do have a new slew gear coming, an all-metal slew gear, and we will be getting a nice slew motor as well to go along with this. Now, this was, like I said, a project. It was started and not finished. The only thing that was started was the servo winches were installed. They did use the drivers that came with the servo winches to power them, although they didn't have enough power to do what the end result was to do. I had to go back, relook at things and how we needed to address this. I came up and decided we were going to get some crawler ESCs. These crawler ESCs have drag brake built into the ESC. So this way, when you're stopped and you're using it as a crawler mode, your crawler will sit on a hill, not roll backwards. Same principle I wanted for the drag line crane. I wanted to be able to make sure this mast got held up and not fell when it wasn't being used. So we have them installed. There's 3 of them. These are actually from Red Cat Racing. They are Hex Fly. They're made by Hobbywing. These model numbers are, I'll read them out to you. An HX 1040 crawler. They're a 40 amp ESC. They do have different drag brake settings. You can do 100%, 50, or no drag brake set into it. They do have individual on-off switches, and they will take 3S. Although, we are not going to be using 3S on this because of the track motors will not be able to take, well, at least the ESC right now will not be able to take 3S. 2S it runs just fine on. So, let me flip this over and I'll actually show you what we've been dealing with. So here we have our crawler crane. We have the main mast up here. This started its life as one of those Huna crawlers, like an excavator. This is plastic tracks. I have gone through the motors to make sure that they're good, and I do have them working on the turn dials up in the front. Right now they do go pretty quick for being on 2S. Right now they're being powered with technically an actual Huna battery using a JST connection. So we have 3 different winches on here. Your top line is actually for raising and lowering the mast itself. Okay? We have our second line. The second line is actually to raise and lower your dragline bucket. This is a new 3D printed dragline bucket. I have scaled this up to be to the size that we wanted this to be. I didn't want to go too large because of the size of the cab and the unit itself. This is a very large bucket for what it is. And our bottom winch line is your typical drag one that will pull this up the hill and fill it with your debris. So we have this working on our sticks right here. We have winch up if you pull your right stick up. Now this does seem slow, but when you're dragging this in, you don't want much faster than that because you want to scrape the earth with it. And then on our left stick we have our mast up and down. So this will go down and it will stay where I let go of the stick. That is the nice thing about having drag brake on your crawler ESCs, guys. Just wanted you guys to be aware that's what we're using. We're using an actual crawler ESC to achieve this. The speed of this is about right. The tracks will work great. Everything is working the way we want it to be. After doing a little bit of research, we have found out that this is close to the Bucyrus Erie, what was it, a BH30? If I'm not mistaken. I have looked up a few of them, and it's very close and similar to that. And I think we're going to restore this back to the old Bucyrus Erie colors. I am liking the orange with the dark, almost maroon trim that it has with it. With that being said, there is going to be no beacon lights on this. There is going to be no lights. This is going to be a very basic, and I'll say basic build, but we're trying to go for more scale than anything. This is going to be not a crawler or an excavator, like it's going to crawl up a hill. This is going to be something that you're going to place on top of a pedestal or a mound of dirt, and you're going to be able to swing around and dig all day with your bucket. That's honestly what a drag line is for. It's meant to pull up with your bucket. Okay? Nice teeth on the bottom of the bucket. Honestly, they're sharp, but that'll help cut into whatever material that we're trying to dig. So that is the drag line. This started its life as a 1980s Tonka, and honestly, it really only had the two sections right here. And they weren't even these sections. These sections came from a different vehicle, and we have added, 3 intermediate pieces to go with it. So, it probably came with our complete top piece, and our bottom piece was probably more accurate of what it came with. These middle sections came from somewhere else. Unfortunately, I don't remember where they came from. I'd like to know, because honestly, I may like to do another one of these. They're really fun to handle. If need be, right now I do have a whole set of counterweights in the back from a Hoona dump truck. I pulled them out the front cab. We've placed in the back for counterweights. If I need more, I will find out and find a slip-in lead weight for the bottom of the tracks. Right now the slew gear is a 1580 slew gear that I'm using. It's a plastic slew gear, and we're going to be upgrading to the all-metal one, because that'll give us less play and less slop, really in the cab. And we'll go back to the 1580 gear motor. I will probably get a Magnum slew gear. It's small, it's nice and quick, it's quiet. I don't have anything to worry about with it. So that is our Tonka drag line. I find it really fun. This was a really cool project. I've delayed this for so long. I have had no reason why to. It was fairly close. This did take a lot of mental thought to put this back together and to be what it is now. The way it would stand before, there was a lot of random issues. They were not using a FlySky remote. They were actually trying to use this and build off of a Hoona remote. I found that was more difficult and more cumbersome than it needed to be. I switched it out to a FlySky, added all the ESCs, picked up 3 more ESCs, replaced some of the line. Because this line is very thick, I couldn't get a whole lot of it on there. So like our main boom line, I know there's a lot on this spool, but it's a 100-pound fishing line test. I don't have to worry about this. I may end up replacing a lot of this other line with the 100-pound test line down in the future. We'll see. Not sure yet. But we are liking the way that this is going. This is very fun. The battery does last. It lasted a pretty while. My kids were playing around with it over the weekend. I think they got about 20 to 30 minutes on a battery that was about 75% full. So honestly, that's some pretty good time. And like I said, they also weren't using it. There's no slew gear. They weren't tracking it at all. They were really just using this and taking the bucket and putting Hot Wheels in it. So it was actually kind of fun. They enjoyed it. I had a good time seeing it actually being used. It was a blast. So, like I said, here's the Tonka dragline. 90% complete. I will be taking the cab back off of this because I do need to pull this green cab off. I need to put this slew of ESCs here. There's 3 of them that you see here. There's also a 4th one for your tracks that's right here. This is one of those dual blister packed ESCs. Now, I did use a BEC out of one of these receivers, okay? So in order to do that, you have to pull the red wire out of all of the other ESCs. You leave your grounds, but you pull your red wire. I have pulled it. I've put a little shrink tubing around it. This way, if I ever change my mind, we do something different with this, get different ESCs, whatever the case may be, I can still use those ESCs. I did not cut the end off of it. They're just set there. All of the power goes into the Wago blocks. This way I can easily take power in and out of whatever ESC I need and still have my battery connection. So these will probably end up staying. But I will be putting the ESCs on the back wall over here. There should be enough room for me to mount all 3 of these right here, and the little blister packed one will fit right up in top. I do have a nice spot in the back to mount a battery, and that'll be really all I'm really going to need at the end of the day. Here's a picture of the back. So I do have a little spot open in the back. I may end up putting a door there. I'm not 100% sure. I may end up filling it with a fan and then a little piece of plastic to cover that up, because I know that this will get warm, especially with 3 here, 4, 5 ESCs. Technically 5 ESCs. The dual one does get kind of warm, especially if you're utilizing it. So that's a 2 channel one here and 3 singles. So we're going to continue to work on this. Next step will be taking the cab back off. After all this is said and done, I finally have the proof of concept. We're all working 100% on it. He needs to pick up a radio. He needs to pick up some batteries. We need to finalize this. Make sure we get the right paint colors to go with this, and then we can start getting some paint on this guy and bring it back to its original colors as a Bucyrus Erie. That's all I have for you guys today. That's going to be the update for the drag line. Like I said, this was a 1980s Tonka toy, push Tonka toy with crank roll-ups for your lines, converted to RC. So I want to thank you for joining us and checking out the update that we have done on our drag line. Please remember to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share this with your friends if you did enjoy this. Make sure you hit that notification bell down at the bottom, so this way you will know when I post a new video that you will be notified when I do. Alright guys, I'm going to end this out here. I can't wait to get this done. This is going to be so fun in the springtime at the shows. I haven't seen anything like this at any of the shows, so I'm really looking forward to having this being available to us. Alright, you guys have yourself a great rest of the weekend. I'm going to get back to doing some building. I got my printers running. I got stuff I need to take care of, guys. Alright, I will catch you guys later. Take care.